Well, hello, my bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Idrath Core I Roll Sazir, Northbridge. And as you can see, we just had a bit of an incursion down in the tunnels. The amphibian people have returned and have also been quelled. In stunning fashion, I should add. Every single last one of those rotten, scaly bastards has been killed, and we have, so far, lost no dwarves. Though there have been injuries, at least a couple, and at least one severe injury. Gonna have to make some more adjustments to our military roster. Might have some more honor wounded. Not good at all. But it could have been much, much worse, of course. Idrath be praised. Looking back to the fortress, right now it is the 26th of Slate, mid-spring of 111. We're starting in now on our 4th year here, and we have made some pretty astounding progress lately. I mean, as you can see right here, isn't our bridge looking nice? Actually, you'll see right at the moment we have dwarves busy at work putting some windows in place. Windows made of gems, mostly, but also some made out of green glass. We've been trying to make a bunch of glass, but that stuff is a pain to make, I'll tell you. We do have some green glass ready right now, but we're more concerned about clear glass. And that stuff takes a whole process. You gotta make ash, and then potash, and then pearl ash. It's a whole thing, but it's getting done in the background. We're gonna do something cool with it. Anywho, back out to the caverns and the scene of that last amphibian battle. There were a terrible amount more amphibian people this time. I think that first time there was around 15 individuals that arrived, armed with spears and shields, but this time it was nearly 40, more than double that last amount. Apparently we've upset them. I don't know if this is their area, or they think this is their area, or what, but they didn't even bother to come in and try to talk to us or anything, just immediately went to violence. So if that's how they want to play, then we will play, certainly, as can be seen here by the piles of mangled bodies. We're gonna have to do something about this, though. We can't just leave these corpses here. They're gonna make one heck of a stink soon. Gonna have to start shoveling them off in some corner somewhere, I think. Yeah, we'll put some thought into that. Now then, back here in the fortress and on to some brighter news. Right at the current moment, we're trying to take some time off. We kind of need it. Referring to our recent spat of unhappy dwarves, there are quite a few these days. Mostly due to, I believe, the amount of work we've had to do on the bridge. I mean, it's bound to happen, there is an awful lot to do, but it has taken quite a toll. All this work isn't going to be worth a damn thing if we can't enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? So we have a few extra things to do at the moment, but after that, I think we're going to start to take it a little bit more easy, a little bit. Again, we still have a tremendous amount to do, but maybe we'll just go a bit slower with it. For a while, anyways. Anywho, yes, you can see our meeting hall here. It's looking pretty good. We have quite a few gem windows in place now. Pretty bougie, eh? There's a whole variety of colors, and they're almost all in place now. I figured we'd give us a nice big dance floor right in the middle of the meeting hall, just kind of encircled by tables and chairs. And over on the right side there, you can see our bituminous coal coffer. A Rathru ball. That's the artifact that was made right here in the fortress. I figured we'd put it in here, and actually inside of it, we have a bunch of mugs and even some musical instruments stored. Handy, right? Plus the dwarves can see it. It's just kind of sitting back there, bathed in light from our gem windows. Yes, that is very fancy, isn't it? Now then, having a look over this way, we can see Dodak Lysatdusim, a former Saltbridge spear dwarf. Dodak here was wounded pretty badly in that fighting, and can no longer stand. Doesn't have a crutch, so I guess he's just crawling around the place, but he doesn't seem to mind so much. I know we have crutches for him. I don't know why he wasn't given one, but we'll have to talk to Besmar about that, I suppose. Anyways, Dodak here has been taking off spear dwarf duty, and is now both an honor wounded dwarf and our fortress manager. He has pretty good managerial skills, and so we figured, what the hell, why not award him with the task? I figured he'd be pretty good at it. And if you have a look over this way here, you can see his bedroom. He was given a bedroom because he's now one of the honor wounded, and as such it is quite well appointed. We went with chert furniture and windows made of rubies. On top of that, he has a masterwork bed, of course, and a statue of a goat wearing boots. He likes goats and boots. We figured that'd be apt. This actually is the bedroom of both him and his wife, Odam, who is still a Saltbridge spear dwarf. I'm glad they both survived that amphibian attack, I'll tell you. By the way, I don't know why there are children just playing in here. It's not their bedroom, little bastards. Over here, actually right next door, we have another bedroom that we had just made, and this one is for Frog Stomp, the hero of our first underground siege there. He's not in a great mood lately, so I figured it'd be pretty apt to get him a bedroom. It's well appointed in his opinion, with some nice conglomerate furniture. He likes conglomerate stone, as well as a statue of him is sitting atop a throne and raising a buckler in the air. He likes both thrones and bucklers, so there you go. That's a nice bedroom if I say so myself. Smoky quartz windows there. Gets the job done, right? Having a brief look below ground here, you can see our dwarves were busy at work getting all that trash, amphibian people parts, thrown into a small pit that we dug below ground. Just a tiny little thing, really. They crammed every little flabby body part and corpse down into this pit, and then after that was done, we sealed it up so that stink couldn't get out. That being said, we did have to deal with quite a bit of miasma as we were getting our project done, but it is done now, so that's good. But one of the good things that came out of this is all of their spears and shields are, they're all made of metal, so we could just reclaim those and melt them down and turn them into better things. I'm sure they must have scavenged most of this, because if you have a look, some of them are actually steel spears and shields, which we can melt down and turn into much higher quality weapons. This is excellent. It's our only reliable source of steel at the moment, so we have to make do. Still looking for that flux stone, hoping to produce our own steel at some point, but as long as we have the amphibians kindly bringing their arms like this, well, I guess we don't have to worry too much about it. Thank you very much, you disgusting frogs. My goodness, up, down, up, down. There's a lot to check in on these days. Up on the bridge, down underground, and you know what? We just got a report that something is happening up above ground. Let's have a look. We are under siege, dwarves. The goblins of the circular terror have arrived. These are the ones that have been pestering us this whole time. Emblazoned on their armor is an image of chestnuts, the symbol of their foul nation. Well, thankfully, it doesn't look like we have a very big siege here. Just a handful of the bastards. I don't know what they're gonna try. They look to all be marksmen, armed with both bows and crossbows. Well, we're gonna be ready for them. Oh, and actually, having a look here, it looks like there must have been some snatchers here too, accompanying the warriors, but they've already been sighted and are running off. Well, looking back to the bridge, our warriors were ready for them. Lucky we moved their barracks. They could jump right to action now if there's trouble. Not a big deal at all, we just erased their entire siege. Except for those snatchers, we have to go track them down now. The rat bastards. Shouldn't be too big a deal though. These goblins aren't terribly clever. I guess my real fear with these goblins is, well, I've got a couple fears, but concerning our warriors mostly, is that the warriors will get knocked into water when they're fighting the goblins. Skill-wise, the goblins pose no threat to our warriors. Not a big threat anyways, especially not in such small numbers. But a goblin could easily push one of our warriors into water, and that would be it. Dwarves aren't particularly known for their swimming prowess, especially not clad in a shell of iron. They sink like a stone. Could be pretty darn dangerous for us. But we didn't have any problem with these bastards whatsoever. Just any of these corpses hauled off somewhere and we'll be good to go. That there can account for our luck in battle. We had a kobold watching over us, over here by the shrine, trying to scurry away as we speak. Such lucky little people. Thank you very much, child of the crags. Now get to safety before one of our dwarves has a... Oh, hey, be careful. There we go. Looks like our warriors have learned their lesson. They're not going to be attacking the crag child this time. Excellent, excellent. Yes, now get to safety. There you go. There you go. Just running around panicked now. Oh, it looks like they have a friend, too. A couple of kobolds in the area. Very good. Once again, thank you for your boons. Anywho, back to the fortress here. In that whole fiasco, we managed to miss the humans arriving this year, which is kind of a shame, actually. I wanted to see the wagon arrive and go down the bridge. This year is the first time people have traded at our interior bridge depot here. And doesn't that look nice? I think so. That being said, we really do not have that much to trade at all this year. It's getting worse and worse every year. Seems we have less and less to trade. Quite regrettable. At the moment, all we have to trade are a couple of cabinets that we had sitting around, some extra bits of furniture. Oh, you know what, actually? We have all those amphibian spears and shields. I wasn't even thinking. Yeah, we could trade those here. Okay, well, I suppose that'll do it right there. We didn't really get that much, but we were able to get a couple more elephants as well as some gold bars, which is what we had requested from last year. Not too shabby. Gets the job done. We really have to start producing something of worth, though, here in the fortress. We have to do Idrath proud. We're living in shame, dwarves. The rock, Aso Ebasilko Thuthu, has come. A bird of prey so large and ferocious it dwarfs many dragons. All beneath its mighty wings should fear the sky. Swooping in right now. Luckily, we still have a little bit of time to work with here. I've already forbidden all activities out here to the northwest, so dwarves shouldn't be out here for much longer. Rather, at all. And looking over to the bridge, we do have some warriors on the way. Frog Stomp mainly, but hopefully some others too. The horrible bird is down here in our previous inventory room, which, I mean, we still have plenty of inventory in here. But we also have a number of alpacas and a yak as well. That was just killed by the rock. Must be coming in here for food. Came in here because it hurt our animals. Yeah, we have quite a few alpacas in here, or rather we did anyways. And I'm hoping they can keep the thing busy till our warriors get here. Actually, that might be quite handy. We have poor animals. They don't stand a chance. Just mowing them down, moving from alpaca to alpaca. Not even bothering to consume them, just leaving their corpses there on the ground. What a waste. I suppose we should have got them safe down underground with our elephants, huh? Oh, here we go. Here comes Frog Stomp, running straight in with his spear. Oh, there you go, buddy. What a brave dwarf. Skewering this bastard bird. All by himself, too. There are no other warriors here. Got a couple good hits in there, enough to ground the thing. My friend, would you look at that? Frog Stomp was able to take that damn rock down no problem whatsoever, just by himself. Just him and his spear, a real dwarf. My friend, once again, we are greatly indebted to you. First on the scene and did a damn fine job. We should probably get his quarters a bit more well appointed, shouldn't we? Mostly because he's not doing so, well these days. Kind of a miserable dwarf, if I gotta be frank. Not too sure what his problem is. You're a hero, my friend. Rejoice. Everyone loves you. That was fantastic. Yes, we'll come up with something for sure. In the meantime, though, we do have to pick up this mess. Alpaca pieces and all, you know. Ah, crap. Re-examining the scene of this rock attack. Mixed in amongst the mangled alpaca remains, we have a dwarven child. Her name was Stackhud. Not the hero of Nakortorad Stackhud, a different Stackhud. Damn shame, she must have been playing in here. Our first fortress death. Well, that's no good at all. Hate to see it happen like that, but really it was just an accident. That being said, you know, I guess it wouldn't hurt for us to be a little bit more diligent with our burrows in the future. We should be preventing the children from coming out here or like anywhere outside the fortress really until they're a bit older. They can take care of themselves a bit better, you know? Too late for poor Stackhud here though. That being said, we already do have a burrow in place and it is active, so hopefully we can avoid this sort of stuff down the line. We have to get her interred somewhere though. I guess we don't have a proper tomb set up yet, huh? Ah, crap. Speaking of which, I don't know when this happened exactly, but it looks like we lost another dwarf at some point, over here next to the bridge. They must have fell off into the water. You can see at this point they've been rendered into just bones. So yeah, it must have been quite some time ago. This here was Vabok, not Baron Vabok. Oh, that's not good at all. Her poor husband up here, just kind of sitting in our new temple. I know I haven't shown this place off yet before, but he's just kind of in here off by himself, just praying to Idrath, probably wondering why his wealth was taken. That's not good, hoping the best for him. Well, at least he has a nice place like this now to worship, think on things, try to figure out his problems. In this temple here, you can see we've made it mostly of, well, the statues and bits of the floor are made of bauxite anyways. I figured we had a bunch around, it's not too fancy, but it looks okay. And there's one statue for each of our primary gods, all 12 of them. We do worship a whole bunch of gods here. And note too that the temple is right above our kitchens and food stockpiles, which is right above our meeting hall. I had said earlier I was planning on making maybe offices up there, but a temple is a much better idea. We haven't had one yet, so yeah, kinda had to do it. Nice and accessible. As for a tomb though, I guess I'm not totally sure where we could put one. There has to be someplace though. Well, would it be crazy, do you think, to make a tomb apart from the fortress? Like if we made an underwater tomb, say, that we can only access like when the sea is frozen. Maybe come up with a temporary crypt up on the surface where we can inter people just, you know, for a time, until we can get them down below the water in the winter. Sounds a little finicky, but also kind of interesting. I do like that. Certainly their rest would be peaceful if they were that far away from the fortress. Of course, maybe we can make an underwater tunnel that leads to it as well. With a ceiling of glass, perhaps? That might be interesting. Something to consider for sure. We'll see what happens when winter rolls around. In the meantime, though, we do have some trading to do. Autumn has just rolled around and the dwarven merchants have arrived. And this time we have an awful lot to trade too, a lot of good things too. Because I have not mentioned it, but we've put our friend the rock to good use. We've been turning the thing's bones into crafts, all kinds of stuff, crowns and scepters and rings and amulets. And believe it or not, the bones of a beast as legendary as that are quite valuable, so I think we're going to be able to turn quite a profit this time. Oh, but hold up. Actually, before we get to that trade, it looks like we have a new artifact here, made by Urist Kadirkikrost, our chief carpenter. Haven't really mentioned it, but we do have a couple of main workers for each of our major professions. We'll get more into that at some point. Anyways, Urist created Sarek Renewal, a pine chair. He offers it to the wealthy order. A pine chair. Well, Urist is one of our most skilled carpenters. I'm hoping for a very nice piece here, although it is of pine. Flying in the face of convention, aren't we, Urist? Let's have a look. Sarek Renewal, worth 24,000, not bad at all. This is a pine chair. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with oval claystone cabochons decorated with pine and water buffalo bone, and encircled with bands of pine, rectangular lemonite cabochons, and emerald-cut sapphires. This object menaces with spikes of pine, petrified wood, rose quartz, and pigtail. Okay, not bad. A proper royal throne, sure. I do have a feeling that Urist gets quite a kick out of pine wood. Just seeing how many pine details there are. Quite a few. Well, regardless, it's a very nice piece, my friend. Good work. We will get that put somewhere at some point. Back over to the depot, and as for our trade, well, we've already completed it. And really, I guess it was pretty darn good, but it seems we're always left wanting. No matter what. We were able to get a whole bunch of food, a whole bunch of clothing, necessities really, but none of the very nicest food, none of the very nicest clothing. One of these days though, we just have to be patient. After we have this whole fortress squared away, then we can turn all of our labor force towards the production of crafts, or other tradable items too. Then we'll be doing really well, I think, but it's going to take some time. I mean, this fortress, it's quite labor intensive, you may have noticed. Anywho, at this point we have a lot of things to check in on. Don't think just because we've been getting attacked a whole bunch that we haven't been working. Here at Northbridge, that's pretty much all we know how to do. In fact, over here you can see Eral Odedib, a dwarven child who's making an artifact. Pretty cool, right? We had to set up a craftsdwarf workshop for him right here in our meeting hall, just because we have that new burrow in place and he can't get up to the craftsdwarf workshop we have set up on the mainland. Pretty cool though, I think it's gonna work out fine. We're just gonna let him work for now, and yes, while he's doing that, well, first on our Northbridge tour, we could look down here underground, where you could see a new statue arrangement, a memorial, if you will, of the Second Great Cavern Siege. Now you can see here, just like that first memorial that we made, it features some microcline statues of amphibian people, as well as 2 dwarves. And these dwarves are Godin Adlabash and Asen Cybrekedun, who the dwarves of Northbridge have been referring to as the Frog Brothers. During that fighting there, Godin was able to kill 14 amphibian people, and Asen took down 15. Quite a feat, huh? A well-deserved memorial to be sure. Now, having a gander up to the bridge. Well, you can see that we've made a room. This one here is for stabbed brother Godin. And you can see it's nicely appointed, of course, with some microcline furniture, a stone that he prefers. And this time, instead of a statue, we decided to change it up a bit and we put a pedestal in there. And on that pedestal is a pair of iron gauntlets. He can appreciate the craftsmanship of a gauntlet, so we figured, what the hell. He seems to like his bedroom quite a lot, which is good because he's a terribly miserable dwarf. We're really trying to turn things around as much as possible. Our warriors all seem very miserable. They haven't been training for a while, which is terrible. Anyways, over here you can see a bedroom for a skewer brother Asen. And you know, we're going to try something a bit different with this one here. We're going to try to replace the floor in here with magnetite, which he's a fan of. Just want to see how much of a difference that makes, if any. I mean, really it's going to be the same as all the other bedrooms, except we're trying to do a little bit better with it. And if it turns out alright, we might try to do this with other bedrooms too in the future. And there we have it right there, just like that. We have all that magnetite furniture in place and those nice magnetite floors as well. We also gave him a masterwork tower cap bed, just to kind of fit the color scheme. That's a very nice bedroom if I say so myself, and in fact he thinks it's a grand bedroom. In fact, that might be the nicest bedroom in all of Northbridge right now, besides Vabok's quarters of course. And actually, now that that's done, if you have a gander down here at the bridge, you can see we've been working on some new ideas. We figured we'd gussy up the bridge a little bit. It's just a flat brown expanse right now, but that just will not do. Gotta make it look fancy, of course. Gotta flaunt that wealth of ours. Imperative. Of course, it's all getting covered with snow right now, so we'll see it in the spring. No worries. Anyways, a couple more bedrooms here we finished up across the way. We have one down here for Led Adultar, husband of Vabok. The Vabok we found deceased underwater, remember that? We decided he should have a good bedroom. Putting stone furniture in there, we had plenty of that and he prefers the type of stone. And you can also see we put a nice statue of a sperm whale in there, as well as a pedestal, on top of which is a figurine, a rock bone figurine of him and his wife embracing. I hope that guy recovers quickly. Over next door, I could see another bedroom for Erush, our chief carpenter. Actually, we made this bedroom a while ago, and since then her mood has improved greatly, but we made her a bedroom here just because she was in such a sour mood. There's nice copper furniture in there, as well as a statue depicting a box, a crown, and a buckler. The 3 items she likes. It's kind of boring, admittedly, but Well, she likes the items. She likes it. That's all that matters, I suppose. Looking up from there, we have another bedroom here with solid platinum furniture. A very valuable bedroom here. And this one here is for Vukar, mother of Stackhud, the little girl who was killed by that rock. She likes platinum. We figured, what the hell, we had some platinum laying around. She has a statue of a pig in there, raising a warhammer, as well as another pedestal, and on it is a rockbone figurine of her daughter, laughing. She's a single mother here in the fortress, and she has actually a couple other children here scampering around too. They all live in this room, so I figured it's not going to hurt to make it as nice as possible, you know? Oh, and you know, I guess I forgot to mention these rooms right here. We made a couple more bedrooms up above where our normal bedrooms are. They're about the same size, a little bit smaller, but you can see they kind of go over top the bridge and are accessed through this above walkway. Just trying to make as many bedrooms as we can, you know, we don't want them too spread out. When you get down to it, these are damn fine bedrooms too. Gets the job done, that's for sure. Nice and efficient. Oh, and actually, if you look above, we've made some walkways above them, really narrow things. We're gonna do this on the other side of the bridge too. But just for now, you know, I'm not too sure what we have planned here. Maybe make some archer posts up on the top of the bridge or something. I'm not too sure. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we are pecking away at these bedrooms. It's taking a while, but it's, you know, I think it's working. The moods of our dwarves seem to be balancing out quite a bit, which is just excellent. They are turning around. Glad to see it. Still have an awful long ways to go, though. Anyways, back onto Fortress Matters. Moments ago, Erel, the dwarven child, just finished up that artifact he was working on, and so let's have a look. Erel Odudib, the dwarven child, has created Ustir Castith Nesik Ziril, a bituminous coal mug. He offers it to the wealthy order. Wonderful. Okay, let's have a closer look. This is a bituminous coal mug. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with rectangular bituminous coal cabochons, and it menaces with spikes of aventurine. On the item is an image of Athel Great Tours the dwarf in walnut wood. That's our king. And in addition to that, there's an image of pea plants in brown jasper. Okay, excellent. A proper artifact, really, when you get down to it. You have part of our culture in there, an image of our king, as well as a little touch of the pea plants. Probably a personal preference of his. I like it. A wonderful piece. We'll make sure to do something cool with it. You know what? Actually, we'll make sure it gets put in our meeting hall, just so that dwarves can have a drink from it from time to time. Kind of unsanitary, but the dwarves don't mind so much. It'll be fine. Wonderful work, Erel. Thank you very much. Anywho, you know, I guess we didn't really go all the way through our fortress tour. A couple other things I need to show off. Back down here to the metalworking level for just a moment, where you can see our rock attack memorial. We have placed on a pedestal here the skull of that terrifying rock made into a totem, and in front of it a microcline statue of Zuglar, Frogstomp, killing the rock. A pretty nice little piece. We ended up running into some pretty big trouble with this room, like the Farmers Guild Hall right next door, where water keeps dripping in. It's a big pain in the butt, but you can see we're getting some grates in place, and it's no longer a problem. Plus, that mist has been dripping down. Nice little ambiance for the area. The dwarves seem to really appreciate that, by the way. In fact, speaking of which, well, just a moment here. We're passing by this area here. This is right below where the fortress is above. This is where we've been putting our elephants, and you can see there's quite a few elephant babies now, which is just excellent, but they are running out of floor fungus very quickly. This whole place is very arid now. They're kind of just like spread out along the edges, trying to scrape up as much floor fungus as they can get. There's really not a lot for them to eat down here, and they go through it quickly. We're gonna have to solve this problem at some point, but not right this moment. We're gonna get to it. No worries. But yes, if we look down from here and zoom out a bit, you can see this large problematic area right here. This is a big section of mines. We were kind of carving it out to get some more stone for the above projects, but you might be able to tell there's a little bit of a water issue. There's a lot of water that leaks in. I think actually all the stone that's beneath the sea is an aquifer. I believe that's the case anyways, because, I mean, well, look. All this water that you see here is coming out of this area around these stoneworkers' workshops over to the right, and it's flowing westward where we've made this little tunnel here. Yes, we've connected up that area to the right, to the left there, which is our old mines. That's connected up to our hospital, our old meeting hall, a bunch of current dwarven bedrooms. But that water is just flowing and filling it all up. At some point in the future, it's probably all going to be filled up with water down there in our old mines. But back to that cooling mist thing I mentioned briefly. You can see the water goes down this stairway right here, which a lot of dwarves have to go up and down like all the time. Makes it a little tricky to traverse occasionally, but that cooling mist gets thrown up too. The dwarves seem to really appreciate it. We're going to have to come up with a way to utilize that in a more, not awful fashion. A mist generator of some variety I think would be very nice up in the fortress, but it's going to take a little bit to implement that, I think. We'll get it down though, no worries. But for now though, this actually seems to work out pretty well. Dwarves are all getting the effects of this nice cooling mist as they walk through this stairway. It's pretty great. Anywho, back up to the surface here. We've been a little silly because, well, the water's already frozen, as you can see, and we mentioned doing that underwater tomb project, which we really have to get to ASAP. That being the case, if you have a look over here, you can see a pair of stairways that lead down into the ice, at the bottom of which we have a couple of areas planned to be dug out. Now we're gonna get these areas carved out really quick, and while this is getting done, we have our stoneworkers busy making a bunch of rock blocks and a whole ton of extra furniture too. We don't have very much time at all to get this done, less than a month, but I think we could pull it off. We're just gonna carve out these areas right here, plan up some walls really quick, made of bauxite stones, mostly for efficiency's sake, but bauxite's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with it. And how I think we're gonna go about this is make a couple of gem windows in each of these tombs. I had suggested earlier making glass roofs to these tombs, but we don't have any glass right now, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to make. We could probably whip up some green glass really quick, but, you know, we have the gems, so might as well continue the motif we're going with up on the surface, you know? Anywho, yes, we're gonna make some bauxite tombs down here with gem windows, and we have to make 2 of them, too. One for Stakkud, the child who was killed by the rock, and one for Vabok, the dwarf who mysteriously drowned after falling off the bridge. We're also going to get some other odds and ends thrown in there too. And actually in Vabok's tomb, we're going to make it a little bit differently shaped, just because I want to make it a tomb for Vabok and her husband as well, Led. We'll assign it as a tomb for him, and he could spend the rest of eternity with his wife. At least he can look forward to that in a fashion. There we go. Okay, we're getting it done. Really pushing it with the time. But yes, you can see we have those coffins in there now, as well as statues. Trying to get them in place anyways. We got some pedestals going in too. The one going in Stakkud's tomb is going to have some bauxite stone toys on it. She could take those with her to the afterlife. And the pedestal in the adult's tomb is going to have some gold coins on it that we just minted. They got to be able to pay for stuff in the afterlife too. Don't want to send them there poor. It's the least we could do, really. Anywho, yes, you can see it's almost all in place now. We have those windows in place. That was the part I was most afraid of. And we are really getting down there. And, oh crap, gonna have to cut it off here actually. Damn it. Okay, yeah, we couldn't finish up Stakkud's tomb in time. We have to call it off. Don't want any more dwarves dying, that'd be silly, but as you can see right there, the ocean has thawed out now. Those bodies are in place, but we could not seal up Stakkud's tomb, so it's now filled up with water. We'll have to get that cleaned out next year, I suppose. What a pain in the butt, but you know, it's what happens. Sorry, little Stakkud, we'll take care of you soon. We'll maybe get some more stuff put on her pedestal as well. We'll rectify it next year. Anyways, rest well, you two. I guess really in the end, I'm glad no other dwarves died. Very risky. Anywho, we're getting down to it over here in the fortress. And there is one last thing I'd like to show off, right up here. It's on that narrow pathway up above our bridge. And as you can see, we have a new addition, a ballista. Now, this right here is going to be a training area, and we're going to have it active pretty much 24/7. We want some really well-trained siege dwarves here in Northbridge, if we can manage it. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much all set up. We have a couple of stockpiles down there to the south. That's for ammunition. The ballista is right in the middle, and it's going to be shooting across the top of the bridge. It might seem a little unsafe, especially because we have untrained siege dwarves, but it should be fine. Now the arrows are going to go up to the north there, hit against that wall, and fall down in a gap. Down around here somewhere, hopefully, where we can collect the arrows and reuse them. Should be pretty safe and fairly efficient. Anywho, let's give it a shot. Oh, here comes Avaz, our honor wounded. We're making him one of our primary siege dwarves. Alright, buddy, what do you think? Ready? Let her rip. Okay, there it goes. You see it bumped into that wall, then fell down, and it looks to be completely undamaged. Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna keep doing it like that, and maybe eventually come up with a better place to do the training. But once we have some skilled siege dwarves, we might be able to put this ballista to use right here. Very exciting, right? Imagine shooting down the entire length of the bridge. Not sure how well it'll work. I don't have my hopes too high, but Idrath willing, I've got high hopes. And with that, we're going to start talking about some behind-the-scenes things. Now then, I have a whole bunch because last time I talked about behind-the-scenes things, I talked about all kinds of other rambly garbage that didn't really matter, so let's jump straight into it. I have a list this time. Stakkud and Thaikut, dwarves from Nokortarad. Very good to see them. I'm very happy they showed up. Honestly, I thought they were going to pop up a little bit sooner than they did, but better late than never, I suppose. What I am a little shocked and a little upset about, honestly, is the fact that Thaikut showed up without her pet cat. If you watch the series, you probably remember him. I'm not too sure what governs pet ownership in Dwarf Fortress. Like, well, we had another dwarf pop up. Actually, one of the first Nokortarad dwarves that popped up was Engish, a jeweler, and he had a pet goose. But the goose didn't show up either. So it looks like pets don't normally show up with migrant dwarves if they came from another fortress, which I find a little odd. I assume their pets are still at Nokortarat. Of course, I guess they could have been killed too, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know, not too sure. It is also kind of strange that Stackhut showed up with a cat. I don't know where she would have gotten a kitten from. I'm not sure if they've got maybe some new system in the game or something where dwarves can just randomly show up with new pets, or I don't know. It's intriguing. Not terrible, just a little puzzling sometimes. On the subject of pets, we have a couple of giant toads which have not done a blessed thing down there. Now, I forgot to address it earlier, I meant to do it, but of course toads in real life, they lay eggs. Many of the creatures in Dwarf Fortress also lay eggs, but giant toads do not. They give live birth. I thought maybe they changed it and giant toads now lay eggs, but no, I checked it out. They still give live birth. Some animals in Dwarf Fortress can just be asexual. They don't breed. And I'll bet that's what's going on here, because they've been locked down in that chamber together for like 5 years now, happy as clams, and still nothing. So that's probably what's going on. I was really excited too when we first caught those. I mean, what are the chances we get both a male and female giant cave toad in our first episode? But, well, here we are. Oh well. A couple other things here too. Man, it has taken... Well, let me say this. I've been doing this fortress here, and like I now take 2 weeks in between episodes to put these things out, right? Which is way more than the 1 week I used to take to put out episodes. So you would think I would do a little bit something extra with these episodes, right? A little bit something, but I mean, I don't really feel like the quality of the episodes has gone up too much. But then I realized how long it has taken, in this series anyways, to really plan everything. It's been incredible. So many little things I can do now that I didn't used to be able to do. And I guess that's why this fortress is turning out so amazing looking. I'm actually really proud of this fortress here. I haven't really done something like this before. In fact, I'm going back and thinking about my previous mega projects in series, and like none of them hold a candle to this bridge, right? Like, I'm trying to think, like if you watched my previous series, is there anything I'm missing? Like there was a tower I did, a tower of memories I did in one of my series, but really that wasn't too amazing. In fact, you know what? You haven't even seen how amazing this tower is yet. I've done some stuff in the background that I haven't even shown off. It's gonna be crazy. It's really exciting to me to see how far along it's come, and I don't know, just to think about how far it's going to go. All that planning is really paying off. And you know, this is something I was rambling about a bit last episode, but I never really got to the point that I wanted to. The graphics in the Steam version look really nice. Like when you're looking at the little dwarven apartments and just the layout and stuff, it just looks nice, you know? Like it's great to be able to imagine things, but also to be able to see the pixel graphics in like a little dwarven apartment, you know, and have it look aesthetically pleasing. That's a really good reward for me. I don't know, I dig that a lot. And I'm looking to see how much more we could do with that whole thing there. This project's turning out great. The only thing that's going to really screw it up at this point is if we get attacked by some really big, bad beastie or like an actual army or something like that. Like something I'm a little afraid of is our pitiful, pitiful army that we have going on right now. I mean, I say that, but like they have fended off all threats pretty handily so far. You know, that rock popped up, we murdered that thing, no problem. We had a couple of big amphibian people sieges, that squad of goblins there. And we haven't suffered, actually, we haven't suffered any deaths from any of that yet, except for the one child who was taken out by the rock and then that person falling off the bridge there. We're going to have to improve our military a little bit in order for it to be actually effective and reliable in the future, huh? We've been working on getting proper masterwork armor for all of our dwarves, but we don't have the bodies yet. A bit worrisome. But we'll get there. We'll get there. No worries. It's completely fine. We'll put some thought into it. That and production. My goodness. We have to improve our military, get it into the fortress, which means we have to find a new place for a barracks within the fortress. And as for production, we have to make sure production could be like inside our fortress as well. Right now it's scattered around all over the place. Dwarves have to travel quite a distance and go down to our flooding mines in order to produce stone. But I'm thinking we can come up with something better than that. Yeah, we have a lot to do, dwarves, still, always here in Northbridge. But, you know, even at this point, I'm gonna say the future looks bright. Let's stick to it, dwarves. With Idrath's blessing, we'll be successful. Anyways, with that, my bearded bastards, I thank you for joining me here today, and I certainly hope to see you next time here in Northbridge. And until then...